Hello everyone and welcome to my video explaining character classes in Sparking Zero. So obviously characters in this game have a decent bit of variance to them. Some are stronger, some are faster, some charge quicker, stuff like that. And at surface level you might just think that's fine-tuned for every character just from the ground up. But actually that's not true. The characters have a pretty in-depth class system that modifies their stats in various ways. All that jazz. So in this video I'm going to explain the classes because in the game they're actually quite difficult to find. You have to dive quite deep for them. You can sort by class in game, I believe, but again that's behind several menus and it's not really open to the player directly which characters are, what class. So with this video I hope to explain the classes, list the characters in them, and give everyone a better understanding of the whole shebang. So let's get started. I'll preface this with saying, they're interesting, but they're not like everything. I mean, if you've got a good class, yeah, good for you. You should brag about that, I guess. If you have a bad class, well, who cares? It's just going to be a tiny bit. You're gonna underperform a tiny bit, but who really cares? I mean, who cares? I mean, you can use it as an excuse for losing if you're a sore loser.
He had the uptrend class, and I'm a speed character.
Who gives a shit, really? So it's just interesting to know. Right, so how are classes done? So there's actually 22 classes in the game over the 180 character roster. So how the classes, like stat bonuses, actually work is they're applied on top of a character's base stats, which are initially decided by their DP rating. So let's say you're a 5 DP character, you've got a 10% increase to your defense, you'll probably have like 1,100 defense or something. So and they're also always done as percentages. They're never flat values, so that does make things a bit easier. But on top of that, the character stats are adjusted a tiny bit. I mean, for example, you've got Raccoon in 3DP. He's got 4 health bars. Then you go someone else in 3DP, like Krillin. He's only got 3. So yeah, they're not everything, as I said earlier, but they do mean certain characters fit into certain archetypes of each other. And that's what we'll be going over today. Okay, so most classes have a fair number of benefits and drawbacks until they get power crept. So the classes with drawbacks get less and less common the further up the DP ladder you go. So down here, for an example, we've got Cyberman. He's 2 DP with normal class. That's the most common class actually, now that I think about it. And then you've got Rose Goku Black at 8 DP. Yeah, Super Saiyan class, very powerful class, very powerful character. And there's a badass doppel pick. Okay, so basically I've split the classes into 2 tiers. 3 tiers technically. So tier 1 classes, the classes that have a fair mix of benefits and drawbacks. So, they might have increase to their physical stats and their key stats, take a bit of a hit. So, yada yada yada. These are more common on low DP characters and less common on high DP characters. So, like I said, they get power crept replaced with just better classes. So the tier 1 classes are normal, power, speed, ki blast, skill user, Yajirobe for some reason, and Giant. And with these classes I'll provide an example character for them, and I'll go more in depth into them later and list off all the characters in that class. But these are just, signature characters, I guess, the ones I think of first. Next up we've got tier 2 classes. Now, basically just straight upgrades. I mean, they're just buff after buffs, and they have the most meaningless downsides. Like, your sparking gauge will decrease 10% faster if you don't charge it to full, which is just utter. That's not a downside. That's like no random critical hits on TF2. They just stick that on there. Anyway, so for tier 2 classes, you've got Super Saiyan, you've got Rival, God, Almighty, Fusion, Secret, Villain, and Legendary Super Saiyan. And also, there's the Android classes. So these are basically just variants of existing classes. The Android stuff, like, on top of them. So you've got Key Drain Android Normal, Key Drain Android Power, Infinite Key Android Normal. This is actually unused. It's not applied to any character, actually. It could be used for Gamma 1 and 2 in DLC, that's not out yet. But I think they'd probably be Key Blast. Anyway, unused for now. You got Infinite Key Android Power, Infinite Key Android Key Blast, Infinite Key Android Villain, and Infinite Key Android Giant, because of course Dr. fucking Willow has Infinite Key. Why wouldn't he? Right, so, normal. Class does fuck all. No benefits, no drawbacks, so yeah, basically base stats for your DP level. So this is the most of any class, so this would be quite an extensive list. So first we've got Baby Vegeta, Bardock, Bergamo, Broly Super, Broly Z, Kaba, Captain Ginyu, Caulifla, Cell Jr., Imperfect Cell, Semi-Perfect Cell, Base Killer, I believe that's Super Frieza, Frieza Soldier, Future Trunks, Adult Gohan, Future Gohan, Kid Gohan, King Gohan, GT Goku, basically every base Goku is here actually. Yeah. Plus Goku Black, Goten, Great Saiyaman, Goldo, Jace, Kale, Krillin, Ajub actually. Probably be Fusion class actually, think about it. Then you got Nail, Pan, I believe that's Piccolo early, Piccolo fused with Kami, Raditz, Cyberman, Super Baby 1, Kid Trunks, Fighter Trunks, Sword Trunks, Oob, Fidel, Yamcha, and Dr. Gero. He's obviously the android, absorption android, first normal class, but yeah. Daima Goku is also normal class. Not a very good character. You know, that's how it is. So yeah, normal class. Well, normal class is basically not having a class. So yeah, all rounders, jack of all trades. Play normal if you dislike the character. It's not good or bad. It's just what it is. So next up we have power. So power class is exactly what you expect. They gain big damage increase to other hand-to-hand combos, you know, rush attacks, charge attacks, throws perception, yada yada. They charge their melee smash attacks a bit faster. That's a bigger boost mid-combo actually, because of the changes they made to that, so these charge them quite fast. In return for this though, they got a little worse Key Blasts, cost 10% more, take a bit longer to charge. And this isn't an innate part of their class, but they also charge their Ki pretty slowly. I mean, if you've seen Nappa or Raccoon or King Cold charge their Ki, it's pretty damn slow. Damage of their supers are just a little bit, but by 5%, so who really cares. They've got defenses as well, really good. Charging to Sparking quickly probably make up for their kind of crappy Ki charge rate, so 20% faster. I guess it's not part of the class, but a lot of them have the untechable grabs. So you know when the screen goes dark at the top and bottom, a lot of them have that, and Orkun has that. Full Power Zarbon has that, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, I'd say this is probably one of the better tier 1 classes. Because it provides just a lot of stuff you're going to be doing anyway. Like punches. I mean, their Ki Blasts are a little worse, but it's not by much. And yeah, I think they more than make up for themselves. I think more than make up for the downsides. So who has power class? So you've got Rubrian, you've got Corrupted Zamasu, Spopovich, I believe that's Sin General. Bojack, Full Power Bojack, Cooler, Final Form, Lord Slug, Garlic Jr., Super Saiyan, Z Broly, Super Saiyan, Super Broly, King Cold, Raccoon, Dodoria, Zarbon, Monster Form, Nappa, Fat Boo, Second Form Frieza, Buff Roshi, and Super Trunks. And obviously the power class androids, so besides the Ink Energy, pretty much the same as the regular power class. 19's got a fucking insane boost to the key he gets from melee, obviously because he can't charge. And 16 and Fusion 13 have a little increase. I mean, it's alright. The key's usually just from sitting around though. It's not much you gain from it unless you're 19 or 20. Anyway. Speed. I'm gonna be real, this is probably the worst class in the game. It's pretty much debuffs all around. Like less damage, crappy damage, they take longer to charge or smash attacks, horrible defenses. The characters never have that much HP to begin with, so they're going to be taking an inordinate amount of damage from everything. What do they get from this? Slightly faster charge rate, slightly faster sparking gauge, and they recover from supers a whole 5% faster. That's not useful. I'm sorry, that's not useful. I guess in a niche scenario that someone's in a sparking comboing a super into their ult or something, I guess you have a chance to avoid it. It's just like, it's pretty much every character of this class are fair to be normal. Because I mean, oof. Right, who are the speed characters? So you've got Berter, Kakunsa, Dispo, Evil Boo, Tapion, and regular Zarbon. Out of these, honestly, only Kakunsa and Zarbon, maybe Tapion are really good. Berter is awful, even if he was another class, Berter probably still wouldn't be good, because you've seen how fast he attacks. You can super counter Berter just by spamming the button. It's quite tragic. Dispo is just not strong enough for how much he costs. The weaknesses of the speed class really hit him hard. I've never seen a single person play Evil outside of random battles, so I can't comment on him. But I can't imagine he's the greatest I ever played yet. It's like as fast as Berker. So yeah. And I mean, even for these two, Kunsa 5 DP, she has the defenses of a wet paper towel, if I'm honest. Zarbon is 3 DP, so it's a bit more understandable for him. But I mean, they have Wild Sense and Insta Spark. I think you could make any character good if you give them Wild Sense and Insta Spark. Well, that's almost what Burr has actually. Okay, never mind. No, these guys they're quite decent. Tapion as well. He is really squishy though. That goes for him. So next up we have the Ki Blast class. So they're basically the opposite of the power class. They have worse melee hits and smash charge, blah blah blah, but their Ki Blasts are a lot better. And they also charge Ki a bit faster, so that's quite good. They have a little bit reduced defense, but it's not that bad. It's not that different from the normal class. Yeah, and unlike Speed, this one's pretty decent. Right, so the Ki Blast characters are Babidi, Chiaotzu, First Form Frieza, Mecha Frieza, Frost, Rose, Hoppo, Perlis, Scouter Vegeta, yeah, every base Vegeta basically. Android 13, Android 17, Android 17 Super, Android 18. Same stuff for the androids, Infinite Ki, can't charge Ki, but they recover Ki from the melee attacks a bit faster than the others. Right, so next up is Skill User. So this class is a very limited distribution. It's literally just 3 characters. 2 technically. So they take a 12% hit to all their damage, charge smash attack slower, and ultimates are a bit worse. But in return, they got like an amazing 50% boost to their skill point recovery, charge ki quite a bit faster, and take a massive 30% less damage from ki attacks and supers. So that's actually really good. If you ever fought a Yajirobe or a Mr. Satan or a Roshi, you'll see how fast they use their skills. That's really powerful stuff. So yeah, they're really good for stalling and low DP. Even though stall's not amazing anymore, they can still do a bit of work. For some reason, Yajirobe has his own personal version of this class, and it's exactly the same. It might have slightly different stats, now that I think about it. No, I don't think it does. So yeah, he has a clone of the class for some reason. It might have been used to nerf him or something. But as far as I can tell, pretty much the same. So it's just these three, as I said. So next up we have Giants. So these are the real heavy hitters of the game. Power characters start sobbing when the Giants walk in the room. So their frozen smash attacks deal 250% increased damage, which, like, that's insane. Like, no other modifier comes close to that in any other class. But that makes sense because they're really slow. So if you do get them out, then you deserve the reward. So other physical attacks do huge damage, and all they receive is a minor hit to their ki, which is not too bad. They charge their smash blast 50% slower, which, I mean, that's not going to be what you're relying on if you're a giant. You're going to be punching a lot. So they have an insane 30% increased defense against melee attacks, so that's why it feels like you're hitting a brick wall half the time. But they do receive 10% more from supers and ki blasts, so I believe it says in the tutorial against Great Ape Vegeta, it says to use the ki blast and supers. Yeah, exactly. Obviously, of course, they have the super armor, so you have to have 7 DP or higher when you punch immediately. So if you have a lower DP, you gotta use a strong attack beforehand or suffer. Seriously. They can just grab you as you're trying to stun them. Right, so the list of giants, the big boys. Great Baby, Rudagorn, Giant Slug, Janemba, Anilaza, Great Vegeta, and Dr. Willow, so blah blah blah. Willow's stats are the same, besides his infinite key mechanics, and I don't think he actually has the increased key for melee attacks that the other androids do. Whether or not he has it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Super Saiyan. So this is the first tier 2 class. Super Saiyan receives buffs to 10 to 12% in every area you can think of, with the sole exception of ki gained from melee attacks, which is reduced by 10%. Great, which sparking gauge decreases if you don't successfully charge, like I said earlier. Meaningless, doesn't matter. Who cares? So every character that can be get to Super Saiyan is in this class, so I won't go over like all 80 Super Saiyans, there's no point in that. 80? Probably not. Maybe like 30, 40, something like that. But there's 4 exceptions to that, so Broly Z, Broly Super, and Kale, and their legendary Super Saiyan forms, they have that class instead. For characters where it both applies, the Fusion class takes priority over Super Saiyan. So in Super Saiyan Z Broly and Super Saiyan Super Broly, so Super Trunks are power class instead. But not Super Vegeta, he has Super Saiyan class. And now, fight your rival! So this is a super simple class, it's just 10% buffs to basically their damage. As well as 10% increase to their ki charge rate. And this one actually is a complete direct buff. Super Saiyan has those downslays that don't matter at all. This one is just straight buffs. So it's hit, Jiren, and Tien. And that makes Tien actually one of the best 4DP characters. Because he actually has this class, so he has no downsides compared to the others in that class. So yeah, there are rivals to Goku at some point, and they have this class to reflect that. It's a really good class. Next up we have the God class. So 50% increase to all their melee damage, 10% increase to their ki and ult damage, similar boost to their charge rates, 10% boost to both defenses, so they're pretty damn tanky. Their only weakness is they take 20% longer to recover from supers, which probably makes things a bit easier to makes them a bit easier to combo. I mean, think of the speed characters earlier. That was basically not a buff when it was a 5% faster, but 20% slower. Might make you vulnerable to more combos. So funnily enough, Zamasu does not qualify for this class, and neither do any of the Super Saiyan God forms. Those are Super Saiyan class instead. So characters in this class, you've got Whis, Beerus, and God of Destruction Topple. Right, Strength to match the Divine, the Almighty class. So it's very similar to God, I guess hence the name. 10% increase to all damage types, as well as their key charge rate and spark engage charge speed. So once again, they've got this fucking meaningless downside. It might as well not exist. Yeah, so it's very much a generically powerful class. Usually given things comparable to Super Saiyans. Ultimate Gohan, Golden Frieza, yeah, blah blah blah. So characters in this class, we've got Majin Vegeta, Golden Frieza, Super Perfect Cell, Boo Tanks, Boohan, Kid Boo, Super Janemba, Super Baby 2, Omega Shenron, and Ultimate Gohan. Next up, the Fusion class. So this is another one of a huge, just like full bucket list of buffs. 13% to the rushes, smash attack and combo attacks, 10% every other damage source. They charge both their smash attacks a little quicker, and a 5% increase to both defenses. And I believe every fusion actually has 4 health bars, so they're quite tanky. So you know they have that useless debuff. You gotta wonder why they fucking bother. The class is basically just fusions, except Fuse so Piccolo Fusion, Fuse Android 13. I would hate to imagine Key Android Fusion. Yeah, that would be nasty. Majub should be this class, by the way. Buff Majub 2025. Anyway, so fusion characters: Vegito, Super Vegito, Blue Vegito, Gogeta, Super Gogeta, both Super Gogetas actually. I must have forgot to put Z Gogeta here. Anyway, Gogeta, 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 Gotenks, 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 Kefla, Kefla, Kefla. Because of course, MUI gets his own class, and it's called Secret for some reason. I don't really know. So it's 50% to all his physical damage sources, 50% to his supers and alt as well, and 20% quicker smashes, which is fucking nasty when you see that air blast they can spam for really low key costs. He is nasty. 10% quicker key charge, sparking 20% quicker. Just a good class and a good character. There isn't really much to say. I mean, it's only these two, and it's the same guy. So, just a pretty powerful class. Yeah. Next up, we got the villain class. So this is focused on high damage output, particularly with their supers. So you know they get a decent damage boost to those and their alts, of course. And to get those out quicker, they've got the key charge rate increase. So if you've ever fought full power Frieza, for example, you know he's always spamming those unblockables at you because they're easy to get out because he recovers his ki so quick. So their frozen follow-ups are also quite good. So they deal up damage. They don't have a defense boost, but they don't really need it. I mean, it's yeah. So they got the useless downside, and they get 10% less ki from melee attacks, whole lot of nothing. It's actually quite similar to Super Saiyan, if I think about it. Alright, so the villain class: third form Frieza, final form Frieza, full power Frieza, perfect cell, regular perfect cell. I mean, Super Boo, Bura, Zamasu, Fuse Master, and Cooler. Metal Cooler, sorry. So you know he's got his infinite ki, and then the minus 10% here actually cancels out with his 30% innately, so he gets like 17% increased ki from melee attacks, so a bit better than the others. Right, and I believe that's the final class, Legendary Super Saiyan. So they have a 35% increase to the physical damage, which is, I mean, behind Giants, that is insane. Actually, I think it's above regular Giants. Giant's regular attacks actually, so that's just huge. And they charge their smash attacks 7% quicker, so if they smack you, it'll fucking hurt. They get a decent boost to their key attacks and their supers and alts as well. So they've got super armor, which is it's quite a dangerous thing to have for lower DP characters. But actually, their defense is 13% lower than normal class. So these guys, I mean, they do have 4 health bars, but they're actually not that tanky. So as long as you can get decent few hits on them, yeah. So they're kind of glass cannons actually, with the safety net of the super armor, I suppose. So obviously, Broly, Kale, but you know that already. And that's actually the end. So in conclusion, classes do not decide everything. Use whoever you want. If you want to use Broly, you want to use Goldo, go for it, man. More power to you. So this video was made before the DLC came out, so obviously I don't have any info on those guys, but for some educated predictions from a Z rank elite player. Orange Piccolo and Beast Ultimate, probably going to be Almighty. If I had to guess, Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 are probably going to be Infinite Key Blast. Cell Max and Giant Piccolo, Giant. Base Gohan and Base Piccolo, probably going to be normal. Super Saiyan Gohan, or I believe it's Super Saiyan 2 actually. Either way, it's going to be Super Saiyan. Lime Green Piccolo is the only one I'm not sure on. Could be normal. He might be Almighty, but he would be the cheapest Almighty character. Assuming he's going to be 6 DP. And Base Piccolo from Superhero would be 5 DP, like Fused Okami. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. I plan to do more Spartan Zero content in the future. So if that's the kind of stuff you like, subscribe I suppose. Give the video a like if you liked it. If you didn't like it, give a dislike because it helps with the algorithm. And thanks very much for watching. Thank you.